limiting beliefs? Let me just click this. What has interested you guys about this topic? Is there anything that does interest you guys? Any questions you have around it before I get started?
I have a question. So with limiting beliefs, regarding injuries, I struggled quite a bit with that. I had a lot of injuries for 2 seasons, and then I started believing that my body is only capable of doing certain things. So I would always try to push more, and then boom, injury. Push more, and then another injury. So I started believing that, okay, I'm not capable of doing certain stuff, and I'm not capable of pushing my limits that much. And then actually this season, I put on the brakes a lot with regarding training, and it helped me in the start of the season. It was good, but to the back end of the season we were at now, I feel my conditioning is dipping because of the belief that I can't push through the whole season, because we have a very long season as well in France. So I still think it's a mental thing, but physical as well. So I'm not sure how do you handle that.
Okay, I'll address that with what I'm going to talk about, because that's going to give you a real good insight as to what actually happens with beliefs in the brain. Okay.
Yeah.
And how that affects you psychologically and physiologically. So it's all connected. Cool. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up around injuries. That's a real common one for athletes. All right. Tali, have you got anything that you sort of wanted to bring to the table before we kicked in? Oh, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Sorry. Not really.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just in to tune in, listen in, soak it
yeah.
all up, and just take away little bits of information. That's awesome. Perfect. Joshua, welcome. How are you?
Morena, how are you doing?
Very good, very good. How are you?
Not too bad. Sorry, I'm just eating a bit of breakfast. Sorry.
Oh. Was there anything
nothing
you wanted
particular.
to just bring up before I got started?
Yeah, no. I'd rather prefer to listen and learn. If I have any questions about anything, I'll probably ask you at the end if that's cool.
Yeah, all good. Enjoy your brekkie.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Antonio, what about you? Anything you wanted to bring up just before I got started?
It might segue into what Nicholas was talking about, but I was just wondering, are we going to go over any tools or things we can use individually for when we start to get in that mindset to snap us out of it?
I'll go over some tools. Now, when it comes to limiting beliefs, it is a real personal journey. It's not a one size fits all, okay, approach. And it's just like your training, not a one size fits all, because everyone has a different upbringing, everyone has a different story, everyone has a slightly different outlook on their limiting beliefs and why everyone's got different true beliefs that they're heading towards. So that does, individually wise, I won't be able to go into that in a group setting. However, I can give you guys some tips to start with. And then you guys can also just DM me off to the side if you do believe that you want some more individual work. Alrighty.
Thank you.
So let's get started. Limiting beliefs. First and foremost, to understand your limiting beliefs, we've got to understand exactly what are they and how are they made up. You know, where do we create these limiting beliefs from? So first of all, when we are first born, we've got our red brain. You guys all know the red brain, blue brain analogy. You know, the red brain is more of our safety brain. It's our fight, flight, freeze, and our blue brain's more of our logical brain. Alrighty, it's more of our rest, digest. When we are born with already our survival brain. I'm just reading that. Oh yeah, cool. Drop your questions in the chat. So when we are born, we're already ready with our survival brain, because if we were to remove all of the exterior things that we have in life, our houses, our jobs, banks, money, everything like that, we are very natural human beings. We're a herd mammal that is ready to, when we're born into the earth, we have to survive. So we're born with that brain ready to go, whether we need to fight, flight, or freeze. Now, from the ages of 0 to around 7, we are very impressionable. So we tend to look to, people that are our leaders in our life, people that are our people like parents. We've got teachers, we have our uncles, aunties, older siblings, all of those there. And we're very impressionable as to what their beliefs are and how we learn. I always like to put it, when we're born, we're like a computer that has no files, no systems, no programs in it whatsoever. And we're starting to collect programs. We're starting to collect data and put these into files on what we believe, how we perceive life to be. For example, you've got 2 young kids, right? One is brought up around a gang environment. They're brought up around a gang environment. They learn loyalty, trust, love, camaraderie around their parents, uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, family, neighbors, all around this gang environment. They see that to be their belief of security, love, and everything involved with that. That's their belief. Then you have on the other side a family that's brought up away from a gang environment, and they may have parents that watch the news and see things that aren't quite right and doesn't believe in their belief system about gangs. So that kid grows up believing gangs are wrong. If you took a microscopic view back on both of those kids' outlooks, that's their perception on what they believe their life to be. They have their values brought up around their perception. They have true, false brought up around perception, and that creates their belief. Not one is right or wrong, how they view life. All right. It's the same with religions. People create their belief around their religion, their God, their leader, the rules, all of those around their belief. When they look at each other's, they don't see the others as right, because they see their belief as what they believe in. So it is embedded into their system. However, it used to be talked about a lot that your belief systems were set in stone up until the age of 7. However, when you were talking, Nicholas, about injuries, we can have what's called a SEE experience, significant emotional experience, SEE. Now, these significant emotional experiences can change the view we have around a belief. However, sometimes this is where we can set in our limiting beliefs. And our limiting beliefs are beliefs that stop us from really connecting in with our true belief. Now, these limiting beliefs are things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough or experienced enough or skilled enough. For you, Nicholas, it could be, if I push too hard, I'm going to hurt myself. All of these beliefs then get tied into the same belief pattern as our beliefs that we have from when we grow up. We can also create these limiting beliefs in our first years. If we have our leaders or the most impressionable people that we look up to that tell us things like, you're not good enough, or don't do that, be careful. Be careful is one that parents do a lot. Oh, be careful. Oh, be careful. So you go around as a kid in your red brain, which is already established, and that's firing because we get born with our red brain ready to go to keep us safe. And you've constantly got a parent telling you, be careful, don't touch this, don't do that, don't do that. You're constantly sending off fight, flight, freeze, because our brain doesn't understand the difference between an emotional threat over a physical threat. Emotional threat being, oh, don't touch that, you might hurt yourself. You haven't hurt yourself, but instantly your brain goes, danger, danger. Over a physical threat where a dog's going to come and bite you. And it's vicious, and it's actually going to physically hurt you. You go, danger, danger. Responds exactly the same way, sends the exact same hormone threat out to the body. The body reacts in the way that we have trained it to be. Now, 9 times out of 10, we don't know how to train that. We just go through life responding to the threats. Physical threat, emotional threat, we're responding constantly. Now, later on, that's when our blue brain starts to establish. That's the blue side. It's more of our logical thinking. It's more of our goal-setting brain. It's language. That starts to develop. However, you've had years, depending on your environment that you've grown up in, you've had years of your survival brain getting stronger and stronger and stronger because it's a muscle. The more we train it, the stronger it gets. So if we're training our emotional scarce response constantly and it's firing because that side of the brain fires faster. That side of our brain fires around 35 milliseconds from when we visually see something because it's visual. So like I said, we have this deleted program. We have this clear computer when we first are born. And then all of a sudden we start visually picking up things, data, responding to emotions. So we start filing these emotions and these visuals that we see. So then we've now got a bit of a computer with a number of programs in. So all of a sudden we are at 35 milliseconds, we see something, we instantly act. We instantly react. And then 200 to about 500 milliseconds later, our blue brain comes in and can logically make a decision. However, if you've gone through so many years of just reacting, it's really hard for the blue brain to really come in and start to work with the red brain and take control in some way, shape, or form. And so that's when you get a little bit off balanced. And we're constantly living in that reaction phase. So when we have limiting beliefs, what happens is in our upbringing, we create these belief systems. Some are our real true beliefs as to why you guys are showing up here. You guys showing up here to upskill yourself in your rugby to become professionals or whatever you want to do in your life, to become performance athletes in your division, in your realm, in your country, wherever. That's a true belief. That's a goal that you want inside. It's a purpose. However, you then can have these limiting beliefs on that are the things that sort of say, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be around these guys. These guys are legends. If I push too hard, I'm going to hurt myself. So it's contradicting the true belief system you have. However, to address Nicholas's question around, am I bringing on some of these injuries through thinking about it? We have a thing in our brain called the RAS. It's the reticular activating system, and it sits in our brainstem, and it acts as a filter for our belief system. And so when we visually see something, or we logically work through something, it is going to process information that aligns with our belief. It's really interesting. So it filters out information that doesn't align with your belief, whether it's a true belief or a limiting belief. So all of a sudden, it's giving you data, it's giving you feedback, it's giving you justification as to why you believe what you believe. So now it can become a little bit distorted. So if you have hurt yourself in the past, you are going to have a fear. because your body imprints that energy. It imprints the pain that you went through. It imprints the psychological state that you go through of you can no longer do what you want to do, which is your true belief and play rugby. So you have to start working through that. However, if we don't work on working through the limiting belief and rewriting it, we are going to take that limiting belief with us. So all of a sudden, our RAS now is going to be looking for data. It's going to be looking for information. It's going to be looking for justification as to why you believe yourself to get hurt again. And so it sets that same cycle up again. It's the same with if I'm not good enough. Your RAS is going to collect data around why you're not good enough if we don't work on our limiting beliefs. All right. So if we want to work on our limiting beliefs, it really comes down to having to do the mindset work to work through that. And it can be done. You can rewrite limiting beliefs. They used to say it was set in stone, but then so many people had all these C experiences that rewrite it and change limiting beliefs. There's so many people that have picked up religions at a later stage in life that have totally changed the way they have ran their business because of their change in belief system. But it does take work. And it is work that is done quite differently to when you're in the gym. Because when you're in the gym, you go there, you do the work, and then afterwards you feel like, yes, I've done the work. Whereas the the mental skills that you need around limiting beliefs is in your daily activities all the time, every day. So the first one that I always say is you've got to be aware. You've got to be aware of your beliefs. And 9 times out of 10, we kind of feel them. We can hear that internal dialogue. But have we really put it on paper? Have we really talked about it with people that understand it and you can bounce off and sort of get a direction of it and a real clear understanding? Now, I've got 2 different types of clients. I've got clients that really need to know where they come from. So we go on a bit of a journey there and figure out, okay, how early did you start feeling this? Where does this come from? Because it can give you an overview. I personally don't like sticking in that past mindset. It's a really powerful thing for someone who wants to know where it comes from, but then we move forward. Or you have clients that just want to know, okay, this is what I have. I know I have this limiting belief. I don't need to explore where it comes from. I don't need to know my why, but I know this is what it is. And at least now I'm aware of it. When you can become aware of it, you can then become more aware of when does it start to show up for you in life. And 9 times out of 10, our limiting beliefs start showing up when we feel uncomfortable, when we feel unconfident, or when we feel under pressure. Now, that pressure can be on the field. That pressure can be in training. That pressure can be off the field. But those limiting beliefs, there's only so much suppression you can do, pushing it down as you start to perform and take more risk. There's only so much pressure that you can actually take before those limiting beliefs start really screaming at you. Alrighty. So for example, I had huge limiting beliefs. Like my limiting beliefs growing up was around I wasn't good enough. Yes, definitely. Tyler's just popped up in the chat group about how they can show up as you start to progress. One limiting belief can be a fear of success. You can actually have a fear of success because, to be honest, you don't know what is on the other side of that. We know what's on the side of this. We've been living it. We know how this feels. So I always like to say one of the best ways to combat that one, a fear of success, is to go at it with a curious mind. If we put curiosity in front of it and we start to look at it as, hey, let's just be curious in here, it allows us to be a little bit more creative and a little bit more fun with it, rather than having the pressure of, success. Be curious. When we have curiosity in the brain, it can really help overcome a fear. Alrighty. So with awareness, oh yeah, so I was talking, like one of my limiting beliefs was I had a limiting belief of not being good enough. I grew up in a family of brothers. I had a real constructive working household, and our makeup back then was women were in the kitchen cleaning the house, doing all that stuff, and the men were out there doing the fun shit. I thought that was the fun stuff. This was the boring stuff. However, my dad was like, no, you're a girl, so you're with mum. And I was like, I want to be coming to work with you. I want to be digging drains and hanging out with you on the work site. And my dad was like, there was no way my daughter is ever going to be on the work site. So what I did, I was a big tomboy. So I jumped in all boys sports because I'm going to prove to you, Dad, that I'm good enough. However, the story back then that I had, I didn't know. I didn't have the logical brain to figure out the puzzle as to why I was doing what I was doing. I just created a learned behavior. And that was to constantly seek to be good enough. But in that learned behavior of constantly seeking to be good enough, I didn't learn how to appreciate what I'd achieved. And what I did was I just put more pressure on myself because it was never good enough. And as I was climbing up the ranks through my sporting ability, it was getting more pressure. There was more pressure. But I didn't understand my limiting belief of not being good enough. So it was just constantly eating at me. I was suppressing it, trying to be better, until I got to a point that was a real high level. And all of a sudden, I was like, if I fail here, then I'm not going to be good enough. So I'm going to self-sabotage it. And if I self-sabotage it, I'm taking control of it. So that's okay. And I'd jump codes. And I'd go up the ranks in another sport. Boom, boom, boom. Once again, get to the top. Really good. Same behavior was happening because it was a behavior pattern that I hadn't worked on. And funnily enough, there's actually, it's called cognitive dissonance. Has anyone heard of cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is the discomfort you feel when your behavior or your actions don't align with your beliefs. So it's that discomfort you feel when your actions and your behaviors don't align with your beliefs. Now, those beliefs could be your true beliefs and or your limiting beliefs. However, when under pressure, your limiting beliefs are mainly going to come through a lot quicker because, like I said, the little Raz is going to start filtering out. Why do you feel like this? Why is this a true belief? And if you've let this belief run rampant in you and make decisions without you being aware of what that belief is, then you've created a behavior. So the awareness is key. Being able to really sit down and go, hang on, first of all, let's tune in. What are my true beliefs? What do I really feel? Why am I showing up here for Rugby Ready? Because I'm investing in myself to get somewhere. How do I feel about that? And I want you to go at this with curiosity. I want you to think there is no limit. There is no money limit. There is no skills or experience limit. There is no limit on how far you can go. Let yourself be curious with this because that's where you're going to find your true belief. As soon as you start feeling like the whole, oh, no, don't, nah, oh, maybe don't go for that team. Maybe just start with this level. No, right here, we're rewriting where we want our true belief to be. Because if you set your goal here, you may only go to here. Psychologically, you may just hit here. If you set your goal here, you may get here. And then the more momentum you get with where you achieve, then the bigger the growth you will get because you'll just only build more confidence in yourself. And with that confidence, you will rewrite your limiting beliefs. But I'm going to talk about, so number one step is awareness. So understand your belief system, true beliefs. Now, once you've gone through the exploration of your true belief, where do you really want to go? Where do you feel? How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel nervous when you think about it? Because if it makes you feel nervous, a little bit anxious, you're on the right path. If it makes you just sort of go, yeah, cool, you haven't explored it big enough. You haven't gone big enough. It's got to be fearful because you don't know what's on the other side of that success. So once you've created that awareness, I want you to bring your awareness now to your limiting beliefs. What are the things you think when you start pushing the barriers a little bit? What starts to creep in? What are the things that make you feel nervous in a way that is a bit of like not a positive nervous? You know, it's something that's really holding you back. Maybe gets you into that fight, flight, freeze in a way that you know it shouldn't really. What has held you back already? Why haven't you progressed further already? Ask those questions because they will generally help you unlock what is keeping you stuck. If you are feeling stuck in any area, and like this is for you, Nicholas, stuck in your injury. This could be stuck in reaching out to potential teams that are above you that you may be holding off and you haven't made the call. You haven't sent the email. You keep thinking, oh, I've just got to keep upskilling. Okay, I've just got to learn this a little bit more. This could be something towards your off the field stuff. Because how you start to really align with your true beliefs, your behavior should be the same on the field as it is off the field. Your values, your belief, your behavior should be across the board because you're so dialed in and connected to who you are. So first one is awareness. Awareness on your true beliefs, awareness on your limiting beliefs. Second one is and this ties it in, do your values and behavior align with your belief, your true belief? Now, you might find when you explore this that you have your values and your behavior aligning with your limiting belief, which is fine. It just means that our RAS, our reticular activated system, has done a really good job of filtering through and making you believe what you believe. And just remember, that is there. That is a real thing. It's not you just making stuff up. It's actually filtering it for you to really believe in it. But we can reprogram that. We can just rewrite our beliefs. So we go, do your values and behavior align with your true beliefs? This is where you have to build credit. If you have limiting beliefs that you're not good enough and you're skipping training, that is justifying why you're not good enough. Deep down inside, you're not aligning with your belief, your true belief. If you're waking up in the morning and you're just sort of starting on the back foot, you're not winning your morning, winning your day. Professional athletes wake up, we win the morning, we win the day. We set ourselves up for success. All of those little 1%ers that we do throughout the day, when we're on and off the field, in and out of training, is all setting ourselves up with the behavior to feed our reticular activating system that we are valuing our belief. We are showing up. We build credit with ourselves. So have a look at what your behavior is throughout your day, and does that align with your true belief? Or have we become a little bit disconnected, and is our behavior backing up our limiting beliefs? And then another one, these are only 3 real quick tips. Limiting belief work, we could talk for ages. It goes really deep because it's not just to scratch the surface, or we can do it a couple of times and voila, we're all fixed. It doesn't work like that. It's just the same as the work we have to do on the muscles in our bodies day in, day out to perfect our craft. It's the same with the mind. That's why mental skills has become such a focus, because how we think is how we perform. We can mask it for so long, but it's going to show out, because the higher we have in terms of performance, then the more pressure we have. The higher we grow, the more pressure we have, and the cracks will show. Cracks will show in your mindset if you don't work on the mind. Because the more pressure you put on, there's only so much. It's like science. I'm not good at science at all, but I just know more pressure you put on, if you're capping it, it's going to pop at some stage. So like logical. So it's the same with our brains, same with our thoughts, same with our mental skills. All right. So the third one is then rewriting your limiting beliefs. If you have, and you can have a few. If you've written down yet, I know this comes up when I'm feeling a little bit like, oh shit, on the field. You might have something that comes up with you when you're on your field. You might have something that comes up for you when you're in your training and you're feeling a little bit like, oh, poor me. You know, I'm tired. You know, write down. One of my things used to do when I got really bad with my mental health was I used to always say to myself, I'm tired, physically tired. I'm mentally tired. And so I'd say it all the time. I'm tired. Tell yourself enough. You're going to be tired. So write down what are the beliefs that you have, and then we're going to rewrite them. If we were to take that belief away, what would it be replaced with? And just rewrite it. Once you've got your new beliefs, put them up. I write them on my mirror, so I read it every morning, every night. Not that I actually look in the mirror. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, when I jump on with a client, I'm like, whoa, shit, she ain't looking in the mirror this morning. Whoopsie. But no, we put it on the mirror. It's so covered in writing, my mirror, that you can't even see anyway, so it's all good. Put it on the mirror, right? It could be up in your desk. It could be in your gym at home, if you've got a gym at home. Something somewhere that you're reading it every morning, every day. Now, when you read it, I want you to have a power pose. All right, you stand powerful. When you read your limiting beliefs, you have what's called a power pose. Yep, it could be like this. It could be stand. You stand, because psychologically, the way we imprint through what we read gets put into our body. We need to read it. We need to feel it. We need to believe it. Now, I'm going to throw it out there as well. You're going to have to fake it till you make it for a wee while, because it's not like you're just going to read it straight away and it's going to be like, oh, cool. Okay, that's it. That's right in there. No. It's repetition. Repetition. Every time you're reading it, standing in your power pose, we are repetition. We're going to the gym in our brain. So they're the things that I want you guys to start with your limiting beliefs. All right. Just think, reticular activating system is filtering what we are believing. So when we do have a little bit of, and this could be another step as well, this is another one, when you do have something that comes through, if you're feeling a sign of sort of unconfident, you're sort of, it's uncomfortable, and you have something, a thought that comes into your head, I want you to question it. Is this true? Or is my reticular activating system sending me something that's just not right true? All right. So question it, because it's going to be, if you've been sitting with a belief for a while, it's natural. It's embedded in you. You've been allowing your behavior to think and feel the way that you've been feeling for a while, from what you've felt is true inside. So it's just a matter of reprogramming it. Cool. Any questions?
Kelly, I think, well, first of all, what you shared was like super helpful and informative. So thank you.
Cool.
Definitely learned a lot. And I would say on the injury, like there was two big things that I think I've taken away, especially is with injury, like you said, that's going to leave an imprint. And then if you don't work through it and, go to see a good physiotherapist, consistently do your prehab work, make sure you're getting good sleep, doing your mobility, soft tissue work, getting massage, doing all those things to create like the new body that's going to be able to go further, faster, and stronger than it did before. Like, you will recreate that. And I've experienced that with deadlifting a long time ago. I was training with a friend and my form probably wasn't very good and I hurt my back doing 405. And then for the longest time, it was like I was strong enough to lift more than it, but every time I went to do it, I had this fear. So I could never do it. And then once you start to like do exactly what you said, develop a new personality, develop new habits, develop new self-belief, like you can overcome those things. And
Yeah.
then the trick is like to keep doing it over and
Yes.
over and over, because a lot of people stop doing the shit that works because it's like, oh sweet, I haven't gotten injured. I'm gonna stop doing the McGill Big 3 warm up. I'm gonna stop stretching my hamstrings or whatever it is, and then you've like recreated it again.
100%. Yep. And that's what I mean by build self-credit. Everything you do with your behavior and your act, like the way you act, all of that is building credit in yourself. So if you're not doing the work, then it's going to lead to those mistakes happening again, or those limiting beliefs creeping in. This kind of work here is literally, it's forever. It's a lifetime skill that you continue. You just start to, and this is what I mean right at the start, where it's so individualized, because there's so many little tips and tools that you can do that works with you for your limiting beliefs. Some people over here go, oh yeah, saying them out loud doesn't work with me. But if I stand in a power pose, say them out loud, and then I do it this way, and they have a certain morning ritual that they do, it works for them. So you got to figure out what works for you that allows you to, one, stick at it, because if you're going to make something too unachievable, you're not going to stick at it. You might stick at it for a few weeks, or as Tyler said, once you feel like your injury is better, and then all of a sudden you just don't stick at it. So you got to figure out what is going to work for your lifestyle, for your gameplay. It's like setting yourself up before you go on the field. Some people like to do real limiting belief work then. So really it is a very individual process, but you have to build credit. Do it, do the work. It's not just about reading your limiting beliefs, standing in a power pose and, yep, cool, that's my limiting beliefs, tick that off, done that for today, and now I'm going to carry on. It's about understanding what your true value is, understanding your goal, having a plan, making a plan, showing up at your training. It's like every step, you're building blocks, bricks, stack bricks by brick. Cool. But it's powerful work. Oh my gosh. Shit. I have seen people seriously have the most biggest potential, the skills, the experience, everything at their fingertips. And they get in the way of themselves. And their limiting belief just take the potential away. And you watch it unfold. And you can't, like, I can't do the work for you. I can guide you. I can coach you, but I can't do the work for you. It is a real inner work process, and you've got to want it to really do it. Hey. But I love it. I'd say this is my favorite topic, and don't be fooled, guys, girls, everyone, don't be fooled that you're the only one that has limiting beliefs. I've worked with some big people that you sort of sit there and go, man, you've got everything. And they have a mask. They show up like they've got their shit all together. And then when we work with them, we're like, okay, cool. We're actually working on a real deep limiting belief here, but they're working on it, which makes them overcome to be able to be that person that shows up. So yeah, don't think it's a weakness. It's not a weakness. Not at all. What's a weakness is you not addressing it. You being scared to unlock it, unpack it, talk about it. I believe talking about it, putting it out in the open, it depowers it. It takes away the power. If you keep it suppressed inside you and you think, oh, shut, nah, I'm all good, G. You know, sweet, I'm hanging in there. If you do that, it's like I said, that pressure, it's just gonna go boop. All right, any other questions? I could talk for hours about this.
Yes.
I gotta go.
So would you name your limiting beliefs in the mirror in the power stance?
No, you put your rewritten belief.
Okay, so
So,
that I
so
thought
you've
so.
got
Okay.
your limiting belief over here. You then go, okay, cool, we've mapped it all out. Okay, what do I want this? What would my true belief want this limiting belief to be? And you rewrite it. And then that's what you put in your mirror.
Okay. Perfect.
And that's what you stand in your power stance and you say it. I have one because I love lions. Like I grew up as a kid watching all the lion documentaries. I reckon it's really fascinating to watch nature shows, all about animals and stuff, because they're really like primitive. It's very if you're open-minded and you go and watch it, we're nature as well. So it really connects to how they live, how they survive. We've only made our lives very complicated with all the stuff around us. And so I love watching lion shows, grew up watching it, make all my kids watch lion shows. And so I have one of my like sort of power says that I say whenever I'm feeling unconfident, whether I'm feeling fatigued. I do a lot of endurance running. So when I'm out on the race running and I'm sitting at like 20 Ks and my body's going, oh, yep, there she is. I say to myself, I'm a motherfucking lioness. Because you don't see no lioness go, oh, I'm tired. Curl over in the bush and have a little snooze. They do sleep a lot, but they're fierce. They're ferocious. They look after their pack. They look after their babies. They're bosses. And so it really aligns with me. But when I first came up with I'm a motherfucking lioness, I used to be like, oh, I'm a motherfucking lioness. Yeah. Don't feel it. Never used to tell people that. Oh gosh, this chick thinks she's a lioness. You know? I used to be so like embarrassing, but I say it I don't say it for anyone else. I say it for me because it makes me go boom. Okay, come on, let's go. Let's rock and roll. Let's connect in where I'm going. This is my goal. This is my dream. This is my vision. I've got some big goals to achieve. That's where I'm going. This lioness is on track. So find something that really connects in with you. And you say it, and it just dials you in. All righty? Cool. Any final questions? And then we'll wrap it with a big
Yeah,
bow.
just quickly for myself. The gray area for me is always when I'm feeling under the weather or feeling sick, slightly injured, something like that. The gray area for me is understanding sort of when I do need to take a rest and when I'm like, nah, screw that. You're just being a bit of a pussy. Keep going.
Yes. This is quite
Like,
a common one. Yeah. This is quite a common one when you're working with athletes. Working
do
with
you have
high
any
performers.
sort of, do you have sort of any tips, tricks, any sort of, I don't know, readings?
My thing would be is that one, you've got your plan. So you've got your plan, you've got your daily, your weekly, monthly plan that you're following to, right? My thing would always be check it, like, do you do like self-reviews of your week?
Not written reviews, no.
I would
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Because what I read, how you can sort of really filter out whether you are just being a pussy and you need to harden up or you need to rest the body is that you are sitting there and you're working with your coaches and you're saying, I am showing up. I am actually doing the work. Alrighty, that's one thing. I'm showing up, I'm doing the work. Sometimes we can sort of go, the work is hard and I'm not showing up. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm tired, I'm rest, and that's when we start going, okay, that's when the work's not being done. What's going on here? Now, are you regularly getting under the weather? Injury, is it a regular thing? I'm asking you, Josh.
I think Big J froze.
Yeah. Well, anyway, one thing is to do, if you're regularly getting injured, sick, just like Nicholas, you were talking about that for you, there's possibly a limiting belief going on. Josh, you need to figure out, is there a limiting belief going on in this area? Have I got something that's telling me, oh, this is too hard, I'm tired. Like I said, I was always telling myself I'm tired. So I was feeling tired. I actually got more sick when I had strong limiting beliefs that were holding me back, and I wasn't living my true belief. I wasn't living purposefully towards where I wanted to go. I was kind of doing something that was not aligning with the direction I wanted to go. And that fed into my physiological state, my psychological state, and over time, my body started getting really run down, really tired. I was still showing up. I was still training, eating well, but I did have habits that were taking me away from my goals. I would drink alcohol in the weekends. I would eat some shit here and there. I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't sleeping very well. And here's me going, oh, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling run down. But realistically, I hadn't connected in with exactly what my belief system was, my values were, where I wanted to go, and I wasn't heading in the right direction. I was on a bit of a detour, still doing things, but just not aligning with my values. So my behavior wasn't aligning with my values. So the thing that I'd ask you, Josh, is all your behavior aligning with your values, first and foremost. Then you've got to look at things like, in terms of behavior, we're looking at everything. Is it behavior with your relationships that you have in your life, behavior with your food, behavior with your training, behavior with your money? That always shows up in a big sign of stress. All of those things, have a real good look. And I have these pillars that I always run off that cover all of those, because we go through and we go, where are we at? Where are we at? Because 9 times out of 10, it can be something not really aligning somewhere, and it can just slowly chip away at you. Because now, since I've worked with not only my build up and my foundations, many clients, once you get aligned, yeah, we can have off days, tired days, but then now 9 times out of 10, I look at myself and go, have I been eating the way I need to eat to fuel myself for what I do? Have I been sleeping well? Am I positive in my mind and in my brain? Are my relationships healthy? You got to look at it, because it all then feeds into your psychological state and your physiological state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. It definitely sort of resonates with a few aspects that's going on. I do feel like to get to a point where, and I was only not feeling too well last time we had a call, where my whole sort of, I guess, almost my whole life, I'm not one to, as soon as I feel sick, I don't really like to sit at home and sort of write the day off. I'm sort of one that'll always try and push through.
Yeah.
Most of the time that doesn't have an effect. But yeah, I feel like probably the last time I wasn't feeling too well, and even this time where I'm a bit rough the last couple of days, it's sort of like I'll start to push myself and then I'll just feel myself get even worse. So just continue through it. So it almost get the least I address and sort of take a step back if I need to. The sort of, it almost doubles in the amount of worse it gets.
Yeah. we can get and it's an interesting topic. Oh, this one's an interesting one, and it can really pull on many people's strings. And there's a fine line of, like, for a while in the health and wellness sort of industry and everything like that, everyone's like, rest, take rest, we need rest. And yes, it's really important to have rest and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we can actually be like feeding into more of a victim mindset of feeling tired and run down and feeling it. And we can tell ourselves more and more and more so. And just, I was a prime example for it, like running a business, but I was running a business that wasn't aligning with my purpose. So I was waking up in the morning, still like nothing was going to hold me back. Nothing was going to hold me back. I am someone, if you give me a challenge, I'm going to rise to the challenge and I'm going to push through. And showing up, and I'd show up and I'd give it everything. But it wasn't aligning with my values and my beliefs. And so I was constantly just doing that little bit of suppression, which takes energy. It zaps you. And so all of a sudden, a long time of it, 6.5 years of it, of me just really trying to make it work. It was never going to work because it didn't align with my beliefs. It wasn't the direction I really had, that I really wanted to go for. So one question for you, Josh, is I'd go away and really hone in, okay, cool. Am I dialing in right with my purpose? And is that in every area of my life? Like, look at those pillars: financial, relationships, career, all of those things. And then start going, okay, because when we feel motivated and purpose, we can get that energy to wake up, to go, to keep moving, to feel aligned with it. Our body, our mind feels healthy, our body can feel healthy. But then it's also on the other spectrum, that's one side to check in with. Another side is, are you doing the work? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough rest? Are you hydrating well? Are you fueling yourself well? Are you doing all of those things? Because then you can kind of come to a decision of, okay, cool. Well, actually over here, I'm dropping the ball in some areas here. And over here, I'm just not living authentically yet with this. And the two combined can create a bit of a shitstorm of where you possibly are right now. And so we just start tweaking. Cool. Guys, with this, I want you to just realize it's a long journey, and this is the last thing before we wrap it up. Long journey of working on our mental skills. But don't overcomplicate it. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. Just have the program. Follow the plan. If you don't build credit with yourself, it's going to affect your belief. So follow the plan, and each week assess yourself and go, where can I improve? And then go again. Where can I improve? Go again. And it's just, don't overcomplicate it.
I think something too, Kelly, for me and for Josh and anyone listening, like, if you are getting sick, do exactly what you said, which is like a self-analysis of why that happened, what were the factors leading up to it. But then also recognize that I think it could potentially be a form of sabotaging yourself, of like pushing through. Because if you go, Josh, as an example, if you go and train, and I know this happened, I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying this. So in your program, like you said, oh, I'm kind of feeling crap. And then you went and trained and you went a little too hard. And then the next day you felt worse. I think that can really prolong being sick and make things worse. And it can be scary, especially when you're so dedicated and driven towards achieving big goals, to like take a rest. It's not bad to stay home and rest if you're feeling sick. And there's a huge difference between having a day where you have a lot of mental fatigue, but your body is still fresh, right? There's a really big difference between that and when you're physically sick. So really weigh the pros and cons of that, and look at communicating with your coach, checking in with yourself because you know your body best, and then weighing the consequences of it, right? If you go and train and then the next day you actually don't feel too bad, you feel better, then you're fine. But if you go and train and the next day you feel worse, then you really need to rein it in. And for me personally, that's something that I've always found like I need to speak to my coach about, because it's easy to give someone else that advice, but it's hard to take your own advice. And it's nice just to bounce it around with someone and say, hey, I'm feeling, quite sick. What should I do? Because that can also take the pressure off.
Mm.
So I hope that helps too.
Mm. Yeah, it's okay to take a rest day and use it as a visualization day.
Yeah.
Put your time into visualization, do some breath work. Breath work is great for when you are sick. Breath work, stretch. They're the three things that I say, other than fuel yourself well and hydration, would be breath work, visualization, and stretch if you are needing to rest. Move the body.
Well, those are a lot of the key things. If I'm not feeling, up for my physical workout, or rugby training or something like that, at least I'm nailing as much as I can. Otherwise, throughout the day, your water, your food, like your nutrition, recovery, that sort of thing, even self-development and all of that's a really good opportunity to exert whatever energy you do have towards those things.
Cool. And yeah, listen to that talk in the mind and work on that, just aligning with your belief as you do it, because sometimes, those little voices can creep through going, should get out there and train. Anyway, guys, I hope that was really helpful. Hope you guys took something away from that. And I just look forward to seeing you guys again in a wee while and hearing how this goes. I want you guys to bring some of your rewritten beliefs.
Beautiful. See you, team. Thank you, Kelly.
Awesome. See you guys.
Cheers, thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
There we go.
Have you stopped recording?
Yeah, let me